What's going on, Glenn? It's going to be an interesting one. I know we were kind of talking about this a little bit. Um, when shit hits the fan, my bad. I got the other thing up. So I was getting an echo. So when shit hits the fan, I just got fired from my job yesterday.
It's Friday. You ain't got no job. You gotta get high.
Yeah, right. I got nothing. So I thought this was like so timely to talk about because, yeah, I got the rug pulled out underneath me, and I know we talk a lot about like with men and men's self improvement. Like, what do you do when your back's against the wall? What are your thoughts about that? I know you've had some situations where your back's been against the wall, right?
My back stays against the wall. I like the wall by my back. It's like, it just reminds me that, the cliff, the edge of the cliff is right there. You know what I mean? It's a good thing. You know, you see all this gray hair?
No, I don't see any. It's blonde. Call it blonde.
No, I embrace the gray. Okay. I'm one of those guys that like, I will never like dye my beard just to look younger. There's guys out there like, oh, dye your beard, if you want to look more youthful. No, I embrace it. All right. Physically, the way I physically feel is where my youth is. I don't need to look youthful to be youthful. All right. Now, but I say that to say, like, it's funny. It cracks me up that, over time in life, I've learned so much about myself in life through situations like, things not working out right, things changing last minute, or the things that you expect to go, expect things to go, don't end up going that way. And it's like, well, what do you do? Well, I've learned that there's nothing safe in life, and you should never expect everything to work out. And in the best way to do so is always have backup plans, or always have some form of a contingency plan. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a plan B, or it's just like another. It's like, for instance, you lost your job, so that was your mainstream of income and resources, and losing now you're in a position. I mean, luckily for you, you had a very well-paying job that you're not in the poorhouse right away, right? But now you have your back against the wall, though. You feel the pressure of like, shit, I need to get some work. I need to get a job soon because I'm going to be too close to the poorhouse.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, with my dating coaching business, like things are pretty stable, but that's not going to keep me at the same standard of living that I was used to. So now I really gotta figure things out. And as I explained to you, like this situation was really just unforeseen, unexpected, and it seemed like it came out of nowhere. And we as a company had today as a holiday, so it was like leading into a 3-day holiday weekend, and then boom, rug pulled out underneath me. And this is not the first time I've been in a situation like this. There was years ago, I was working for a company, and it was the day after Christmas when I went to go talk to my boss, and it was the same situation. He was like, "The company's going under. You're actually the first one to know, but we need to let you go today." And yeah, that's that. So this type of stuff, this sucks. It sucks, and it can happen to you at any given time. I think that the only thing in the world that you can trust is yourself. And the only thing you can rely on is yourself, because you're the only one that's in control of your own life. Other than that, I mean, these companies, you may develop good relationships with people, but they don't care about you. They care about the bottom line. And that's like with anything, like what I put in the description here, sometimes, you may have something like this where you lose your job. You may have something where you're put in a very financially difficult situation. You may be put in a situation where you get broken up with and you lost your relationship. You may lose a loved one. There are so many different things that happen. And what do you do next? And that's why I kind of wanted to talk about that, because I think it really is. It's so important to have that type of discussion.
Yeah. For me, look, nothing in life is guaranteed. Nothing in life is promised to you. Okay. Shit could go any which way. So you're never safe. There's never 100% safety. And people have to realize that. You got a job today, doesn't mean you have one tomorrow. You got a working car today, doesn't mean it's going to be there tomorrow. All right, you're in a relationship today, doesn't mean you're going to be married tomorrow. Okay, like things change, and people need to stop investing so much in what they have currently. Hold tight to them, preserve them, but they cannot become your identity. They cannot be what defines you, right? I have gone through a lot in life where things were, I thought this was going to be it. This was it. This was going good. Everything's perfect. And then next thing you know, shit flips the script, shit hits the fan. And it's like, now those things are not there no more. Or those people are not there no more. And it's like, well, what do I do now? Right. And what I've learned is to stop being so dependent and comfortable with what you have. Because with whatever you have now could easily be taken away from you. And never put so much investment of who you are into these things that can be taken away from you. So like the job thing, like, so you lose your job. That sucks. That really does suck. But if the job is a well-paying job and you're able to, save a lot of money or, have a lot of, resources, always start an alternative means of income. Whether that means you're working for yourself, whether that means, you are investing it in another company or corporation that is, doing well. If you want to go the crypto route, do that, or start buying, properties and, start, becoming, renting them out or a landlord or whatever. There's so many ways to diversify your income once you get yourself to a place where you are financially secure enough to where you could start investing that excess, resources into other means, and that's a good thing that guys and everybody should do. It's only, and everybody thinks about it and they're like, oh yeah, it's a great idea. But not a lot of people do it because a lot of people find themselves really comfortable working the job that they have because you know what? In doing all that investing or starting up another side business or something, that takes work. And after working 9 to 10, 12-hour days, and you just got off of work, the last thing you want to do is do more work, right? And it's like, okay, well, then you choose not to invest the time in alternative means to provide you more, resource funnels. So when you do lose your job, now you're in this position, you're like, well, shit, what am I going to do? Well, it could all be avoidable, right? It could all be, mitigated better if you plan it out. Like now, nobody plans on getting fired. But if you develop these other resource streams or investments, while you had that good job, if you do lose that good job, that you're financially secure. That you can know it. I'll find another job, but in the meantime, I got these other avenues of resources coming in that will help me, keep me afloat for the meantime. I'm not in the poorhouse. I'm good. And then,
Yeah, it allows you not to scramble.
yeah,
And that's it. I kind of equate it to when you get into a relationship and you may become too comfortable, and then you may gain weight, you may stop working as hard, you may be devoting all the time to the relationship, and then inevitably at some point, boom, she breaks up with you and you're blindsided. You're like, what the heck just happened? I thought this was the future. And then you have to go through, guys like me or guys like you or any other guys in the space to like learn dating again because you've been out of the game for so long. It's the same type of thing. Like if you're not understanding that at any point in time you could lose your job or the company could go downhill, then you're already planning for failure. I like what you said with investing and putting things in certain places, and then also adding a secondary source of income. I think that's fantastic. I mean, right now, I really don't want to do it, but I've got multiple different investment accounts where I'm going to be just fine for a while. That's why they talk about having 6 months saved somewhere else so that in case your rainy day fund, if something like this happens, that you are just fine. And so that's one of the most important things to understand, as you were saying, that nothing is guaranteed in this life and nothing lasts forever. So be prepared when you have to, put your boots back on and get back out there.
yeah.
And so you've experienced this too, right? Like you've lost jobs, lost contracts and stuff. Like what do you do in those situations to, get back up on your feet and keep moving forward?
I just keep moving. Like I'm in the entertainment industry, so you go in for auditions, they like you, sounds everything's good, but then they read or see your social media, and then they're like, fuck you, oh, you're done. And you know what? It happens. It doesn't. You don't fit their brand or their worldview, and then they'll drop you, and that's the way it is. But knowing that, I just stay grinding, stay working, right? If that door closes, I'm out there. While I got the job, I'm still looking for other jobs or other avenues and networking abilities and resources to have in my tool bag. It's just you have to acquire as many different. You don't want your tool bag empty in life. You don't want to have just one tool, that is your only tool. Like if I work in construction and all I have is a sledgehammer, okay? Now I could do a lot of great demo work. All right. And I may even be able to build some shit with the sledgehammer as the main means. I might be able to get the structure up there. Some things will have a little bit of dents and knots in it because of the sledgehammer, but it might be structurally sound still, right? But when it comes to the finishing work, those real fine nails that you put, Phil Foster knows what I'm talking about, but those real fine nails that you put for the trim or the molding and all the fine, detail work that you need a different type of hammer. My sledgehammer won't work. I will destroy all the good things that I'm trying to do because I only have the one tool. So in life, we have to equip ourselves with as many tools as possible because, it's not a Swiss Army knife. It doesn't not one tool fits all, so be cognizant of that and understanding that, there's going to be times where you don't have the tool that you need to do the job that you want. And that means, with one door closes, education. That's why I love knowledge. Education, knowledge, learning it's so important. You may think that you're learning something stupid, but you really don't know because you never know when you're going to need that, knowledge and expertise. So it's like constantly stay a student, constantly stay learning, never be comfortable. I have lived comfortable before and I've lost everything. I've been married before and lost everything, so I mean there's no safety in life, and understanding that keeps your head on a swivel and keeps you always grasping and always, looking for new and information and tools to add to your tool belt.
I really like that about having multiple tools because you don't have to flex those tools or use them all the time, but just having them to pull out at any given moment is absolutely fantastic. And that's not like if you spend the time learning so many different things and you can bring so many things to the table, don't sit there and just gloat about them all the time, but understand when the time is right to pull them out. I mean, that's one thing. I always when I sit here in the studio and I look across to some of the art that I have framed hanging up, most people don't know that I'm an artist. And that's just a
Look,
passion.
just because I let you draw me naked once for your stupid class does
Like
not
one of
mean
my French girls, I get it. Dude, I tell you what, I can't tell what's the leg and what's the other body part there. So
well,
go
I mean, I don't know if that's like because you were focused on one thing, or if that is just like your interpretation of the artwork, or just maybe I'm just
Hey
blessed.
man, I just admire you. No, but what I'm saying, that's it's so true. Like learning a bunch of different things is fantastic because when you can whip something like that out and solve a problem
I
that
do whip it out and it does solve problems.
okay, knock it off. But when you can whip out some of these things and solve problems that nobody even knew you were aware of, it's phenomenal. I mean, I had shared with you, and I'll just share again. So, I have my degree in finance. However, I work in IT, and I do have a minor in IT as well as supply chain, and I'm also a published academic author in IT. So, just with that, like most people, because I typically stay in IT, most people don't even know that my degree is in finance. And when they find that out, it's like mind blown. And so being able to whip out the financial knowledge, the accounting knowledge, things like that, being able to whip out the supply chain knowledge, all the process improvements that I can whip out, people like are mind blown. But I don't go around gloating it. It's kind of like your secret weapon that you pull out. And so the more that you can go out there and learn, the more equipped you are to navigate life whenever something happens. So that's my number one thing. I really like how you said that. That's my number one thing when it comes to job security, everything like that. Nothing in life is guaranteed. The rug can get pulled out underneath you. What are you going to do next? I'll tell you what, I know for a fact that the next job that I'm getting will be at least $10,000 more than the job I have now, if not 20. I've already seen the market. I've already been out there. I've already had these interviews. So I know what's next. So it really doesn't it's to me it's not a soul crushing experience to be fired from a job. It's just like okay, now I actually have to go through the whole process. But it's simple. It's just like I know that I'm just going to have to do this.
Jobs come and go, relationships come and go. Um, Nothing is guaranteed, and
Yeah.
it's like appreciate it and enjoy it while you have it. Nurture it. Just because you have something doesn't mean it's going to be there forever. So if you want to keep it there, you have to nurture it. You have to, protect it. You have to help it grow. Um, and if you don't, then you risk losing it. And when you lose it, that's when people get upset and get all, panties in a bunch. And
So,
they're
so true. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to say, like, just relationship wise as well, we don't appreciate what we have while we have it. Try and be more present day to day in what you have and enjoy that experience and cultivate that experience because otherwise, then when you get broken up with, you hate yourself, you're sad, you're depressed, but you had all this opportunity to grow that relationship into something fantastic, but you chose not to.
well, I mean, yeah, but also because I mean, that sounds really like, I get what you're trying to say. The way I would look at it is like, if it's something good and you enjoy it, anything, whether it's a job, relationship, even friendships, you have to, you know, do your part to continue that relationship, you know, growing. So whether it's a friendship, you know, you have to constantly, you know, interact with your friend, you know, and set boundaries, healthy boundaries, in order for it to grow and thrive. If you know, are in a relationship or you're married, just because you said I do doesn't mean everything's done for. Like, it doesn't mean everything's like guaranteed. It's not locked in, you know, that's it. No, people divorce, you know, people leave, people cheat. Shit like that happens. It's unfortunate, but it happens. So, the best way to avoid that from happening is healthy boundaries and nurturing it and doing the work that requires it to grow. You know, and appreciate it while you have it, because the sooner you stop, as soon as people get too comfortable in life, whether it's their job, whether it's their, you know, the relationship, and they stop doing all the things that they needed to do to get that job, right? Or to get that girl to be in a relationship with you, that's when things start slacking off. That's when shit starts going south.
That's when you're no longer qualified for that job or relationship.
Well, yeah, because you have you disqualified yourself. You know, I want to say shout out to Phil Brad. I see you, Phil. Salute to you, man. You know, so it's like, once, if you don't, you know, do the work, be responsible enough to maintain either that job, that relationship, or that status that you have with people, and you lose that position, it's not always necessarily because somebody beat you out of it, right? Somebody was better than you. Half the time it's because you started slacking and got too comfortable in that position and didn't think that it could be taken away from you. And you know, and it's, guys, I tell you this, it's a female mentality that guys end up adopting, because, you know, women do this a lot, and this is the best way to prove it. When you got with her, when she was hot, she was fit, you know, she looked sexy, she dressed a certain way, you know, every time she saw you, she made sure she was, you know, presentable, right? And then you got married, and then 3 years down the road, no longer going to the gym, you ain't got no kids, you know, she's not fit anymore, she's looking sloppy, she rarely presents herself, you know, decent anymore. It's like, and it just, love me the way I am. Well, I'm sorry, nobody is gonna love you the way you are. Exactly. Dick is a gift, damn it. Dick is a beautiful gift. and it's like, if she fails to maintain what you were attracted to in the beginning, then she can't get mad when you decide to deuce, you know, right? Or to say something to her and be like, hey, you know what? And she's like, hey, you want to have sex tonight? But not really, because you're not attractive anymore, you know, like, and then she might get mad. Oh my God, you're judging. No, that's the female mindset. But guys, we adopt that shit too. Guys do the same damn thing. You know, you get in a relationship, you're fit, you used to bust ass, do all this work and stuff, and you know, you worked out, you were good, you know, you used to go above and beyond, you know, and shower her with gifts and, you know, cute little memes, or, you know, little sticky notes, say I love you and shit. And then, you know what, 5 years down the road, you stop doing that shit, and you stop, you know, caring about your physique, you stop, you know, working out, you got a instead of a six-pack, you got a six keg going on. And it's just like, you don't look the way that you did when she met you. You're not presenting that same person anymore. And now she doesn't want to sleep with you. And now she's sleeping with Chad from accounting, and you're mad about it. Well, you didn't do anything to protect what you had when you had it. And you didn't maintain that standard that you presented yourself with. It's like, hey, this is who I am. This is my business card. You met me, you like me, you bought me, good. Oh, by the way, after a couple of years, I'm going to change, and this is just a facade. Like,
That's a great point. I mean, you're selling a bill of goods, and you're also buying a bill of goods. So when somebody signs up for that, and then all of a sudden you let it all go, um, this is not what I signed up for. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that somebody would want to drop it. Again, as you were saying before, people get too comfortable, whether it be a job, whether it be a relationship. When you become too comfortable and think like, oh, like I'm not going to lose this, well, that's when you just started the path to losing it. You're muted right now.
It's just like, if you don't do the work, if you're not willing to put in the work to maintain the things that you have, then you have to ask yourself, do you really even value it? And I mean, that's really what it says. Like, if you don't put in the work to maintain these things, then you must not really value the things that you say you're upset about losing.
Yeah. Why would you care about losing something that you didn't put the work into?
And there's a great quote, and because we're gonna wrap this up here pretty soon. The great quote, is from the movie Heat, right? Never get yourself into anything that you can't walk out on in 30 seconds or less when the heat is around the corner. Wonderful quote. Robert De Niro said this. One of the best quotes ever. This is before he went liberal left and now he's like a weirdo. But, when he had some sanity in his youth, he made that quote, and he was the bad guy. All right. And he's having lunch with the cop that is like trying to arrest him. And it's Al Pacino. Al Pacino is sitting there, and he's like, never get yourself into something 30 seconds left when the heat is around the corner. And Al Pacino is the heat right around the corner, so it's like, damn, it was a great line. And it just like, now some people take that like, well, then don't get committed in relationships. Don't get, no, I'm not saying that in that aspect, but I'm saying, don't let the things that you have present now, don't become so dependent on those things that when shit hits the fan and they're no longer there, you do not know how to move, that you are stuck on stupid because you're worried about what you lost rather than what you have. That's my closing statement for this, because I think anything I say after that's going to be stupid. So let's just leave it at that.
No,
I appreciate you, Danny. Thank you for my virtual super chat.
Appreciate it, Danny. Yeah, no, that's a great quote. I really like that, and I think that this is just, even if we're not bringing forth like textbook examples or videos or other things to commentate on, we're at least talking about something that I think everybody needs to be reminded on, because I was reminded about it yesterday. And I think we all need to be reminded about that, because you never know when everything can get pulled out underneath you. And if you don't know how to navigate from there, then that's a problem. And you need to pay attention to that. Again, it comes back to living in the present moment instead of thinking and getting too comfortable, as you were saying. Yeah, I like that, Phil. Detach.
It's like, it's like this, it's like, one, a lot of people don't know how they got where they got, right? They were told to go to college, they went to college, and then they kind of fell into the job or career that they did, but they never cognitively decided for themselves, I'm doing X, Y, and Z because I want this outcome. And it's like, if you don't know how you got where you got, then you never, when you lose it or when things start taken away from you, you don't know how to recover, because if you just do the rules and just take, well, you know what? Society told me to do it this way and I did it this way and I got this far, but then everything disappeared now. So what do I do again? If you keep on looking for society or someone to give you the directions on how to get to where you go, and this is where the 12 steps of life from, mindset that, Jordan Peterson has out there is good and bad for people, because you can have guys follow these, whatever advice or 12 steps that you give them. But if their situation doesn't change, or if it changes, but then it resorts back to, bad or whatever, They're like, well, then now they can ask you again, well, how do I get out of this situation now? They don't know how to figure it out for themselves. And it's like, you have, your life is a map. Okay. And you have to be the explorer of your own map. Now, other people that you come across while you're exploring could give you some insight, on what the terrain is like out there ahead of you and what areas you should avoid. That's great. And you can make notations of that on your map, but you have to be the one to explore your map and get to and find your destination. And if you just take someone else's map and try to do it, and then you don't get where you're at or want to be, but now you're lost because you don't know where the fuck you are, and you lost the map, and you're like, well, what do I do from here? You're like, I don't know. Well, you know what? It's like, you have to be the explorer. You have to trial and error. But guys don't want to do that. They're scared of doing that.
It's hard work. It's hard work.
We got a bunch of pussies masquerading with penises, and I call them trannies. And I'm not just talking about the ones that dress like girls, but we have a bunch of male trannies that were born male that look like men, but they don't want to do the things that men do in order to become successful. They want them to be told what to do to be successful rather than taking the risk of trying out for themselves. There was a quote in the military that said this: "With in doubt, whip it out. And if it gets stepped on, it gets stepped on. Don't worry, it's going to grow back. But with in doubt, whip it out."
It's interesting. That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah. But
I don't have much more else to say on this. I just wanted to have it as because I'm obviously going through a very interesting time, and I've gone through it before. Not a big issue for me, and I'll just bounce back immediately. But I wanted it just as a reminder to everybody that understand how you got to where you are. Keep those things in mind. Stay sharp, and then boom, everything in life just becomes simple. And don't take things personally. Sometimes you lose a job or a relationship or whatever because of people's emotions. Somebody could just decide. I think you had said it before, whether it was backstage or it was on the show. I don't remember exactly. Maybe they didn't like the way I was wearing my shirt that day. Literally, that could be it. And then somebody could get rid of you. You also don't know entirely financially where the company's at. Maybe they're getting rid of you because they need to do something like that. They're completely financially struggling. Who knows? In a relationship, maybe she met somebody else and she doesn't want to admit to you that she met somebody else. So then she just breaks up with you or something changes, but she doesn't want to admit that because she doesn't want to get into an argument. There's all types of reasons. But really what defines you as a man is that when you face hardship like this, how do you get back up? And I think that's really what you were hitting on and some of the things that we were talking about. How do you get back up? If you're keeping up with everything from the very beginning, if you were the man from the very beginning that you were, then it shouldn't be hard. But if you have fallen flat, fallen short, gained weight, everything like that, then yeah, obviously things are not going to be as easy for you to recover. And that's why a lot of the times, especially with guys that have been in long-term relationships or marriages and come out to no female action plan, you're funny. When people come to me or come to Glenn for coaching and they're completely lost, well, you got the girl to begin with. What did you lose? Well, I haven't practiced any of this stuff, or I haven't even thought about it for 7 years. Well, no shit. You should have kept up with who you were.
Yep.
You got any final thoughts, Glenn?
Yeah. With in doubt, whip it out. Just take the fucking risk. Don't be scared. All right. You're either gonna be successful or you're gonna fail. But if you don't move, you're still failing. you're just not trying. You didn't learn anything. So, oh yeah, fucker, I got my own super chat thingy they could do at my Cash App. You know what, you guys?
I'm sending it there so that I can distribute it between us. But go ahead and say whatever you want to say.
Look, hold on. Let me change this. Boom. Oh, damn it, my name's in the way. Hold on.
Oh, you're funny.
Name switch. Oh, there we go. Hit me up on the Cash App.
You're so fancy. But yeah, guys, I figured I'd just throw that up anyways. But obviously this is Your Big Brothers. We're doing a lot of stuff like this. We both have individual stuff that we do on our channels. There's going to be a heck of a lot more that comes out as time goes on. But yeah, we're still figuring stuff out, but it's absolutely fantastic to have you guys join us. If you have any recommendations for videos, things you want to talk about or want us to talk about, touch on, whatever it may be, go ahead and comment below and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that for us. And until next time, appreciate you guys.